30. Let me pick up my rag that I'm gonna wipe the board with. But welcome back. Happy Wednesday to everyone. It's getting a little bit hot in the house today to put that blazer on, so I ain't had a blazer on. But nevertheless, I got dressed up for you all. I didn't do blazer, shirt, tie, shorts, or sweatpants. I actually got fully dressed, for those who are just wondering. But here's why I got fully dressed. Because as a educator, working in the school system, for the school system, when I'm at home, I want to treat home as if I was before you all, like really standing before you all. I want y'all to get the real, full Fred Lee, Mr. W experience, okay? I want to do this thing how God leads me to do this thing. That's why I'm doing this thing. All right, so we're going to take 10 minutes and make sure y'all got a notebook out. See, these days, phones, typing into the computer, get a composition notebook, get a sheet of paper, get an index card. Let's go old school for a second. Write it down. If you can, if not, just pay attention and write it down later on the replay. All right, so we've been talking about writing an essay using an outline, okay? We've been talking about that for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and I want to show you all how to build a paragraph. So yesterday I built my first paragraph, my introduction. And in my introduction, I made a statement that the Boston Celtics are my favorite team. And then I went on to say why they were my favorite team in my next line. And the Boston Celtics is the basketball team, for those who don't know. And then in my next line, I said, my first line, the Boston Celtics are my favorite basketball team. Then I went on to say that I forgot what I said yesterday. I'm going to have to watch the replay, but it was something in this area. Presently, they have the best record in the league. Next, I made a claim. I made a statement to build you up to my thesis statement. So I made a claim. I made an intense, all of it's my hook, my topic sentence, and I made a claim to kind of get people attention, get the attention of others. And I said, it was a bold claim too. I said, Celtics gonna go right back to the championship. Okay? And then I started talking about 3 ways that the Celtics are going to go back to the championship. One way could be, one thing, then another thing, then the third thing. What I want to do real fast, you got to watch yesterday's video to see what I'm talking about. I want to show you all how I open up my first body paragraph. Your first body paragraph comes after your introduction. So if you watch my other videos, you will see how I use the outline as a pre-writing strategy. Now, this part right here, if I had an outline for it, I would just put the first subtopic. Everybody say subtopic. All right? I'm going to write it down here, subtopic. If I was using an outline, I will only fill in some basic things. What is my subtopic? And then 2 supporting details that I can elaborate off of. So let me show you an example. If I was doing this in the form of an outline, okay, let me move the camera a little closer. If I was doing this in the form of an outline, the first thing that I would say as to how do I know the Celtics are going back to the championship, I can put they play well every game. So if I was filling out an outline, we already know who they is. They is my pronoun taking place in my Boston Celtics. They play well every game. And then I might want to name some teams they beat or name some high scores. So if this was an outline, I would just abbreviate or make it short. Jason, and I might be spelling his name wrong. I think it's Jayson. Jason Tatum And then I might write a whole paragraph on Jaylen Brown. Okay? Playing well every game. Then they have some role players, some other people on the team. They picked up, but they acquired quite a two or three athletes this year. But if I was going to do an outline, this would be it. All right. Now, if I want to transition this into a paragraph, they play well every game, and I'm going to say something about Jason Brown and Jason Tatum. It'll go something like this. Here's my body one paragraph. I'm writing it out as if I was transitioning from an outline to a paragraph. Then I'm going to take a little intermission of 2 minutes. I'm going to come back, and then we're going to talk about test-taking strategies. Okay, so right now, writing that body one paragraph, the Celtics, I'm going to put the C's, are returning to the chip. Now, I'm going to write as if I was in like middle school, high school. I'm going to shorten it up. They returning to the chip. We know what the chip is, the championship. Okay? The C's, let me give a green C since we're talking about the Celtics. The C's, I don't have my St. Patty's color markers, but the C's are returning to the chip. Okay? Now, how do I know this? Jason Tatum is still scoring 25 to 30 points a game. Beside his recent ejection in the Knicks game, he's a big part of the C's success. Now, some may say this is a run-on sentence, but see, when you're writing and you're doing your rough draft, this would actually be the equivalent of a rough draft. You don't have to worry about a lot of punctuation at the moment. You don't have to stop and edit and revise all the time because there's a whole process to do that. Right now, you just want to write. What happens with a lot of writers, especially in middle and high school, sometimes students get so caught up on, hey, every word has to be perfectly spelled. Every word has to be spelled correctly. The punctuation has to be right. Everything's got to be this. Everything has to be that. No. Get your information out. Then go back and follow the editing, revising process, okay? So, the C's are returning to the chip. Jason Tatum is still scoring 25 to 30 points a game. Besides his recent ejection. So see, I would, it's hard not to edit when you're rereading your stuff. Besides his recent ejection in the Knicks game, he's a big part of the C's success. Now, I already have one still scoring 25-30. Jason Tatum is still scoring 25-30 points a game. I can make that a semicolon, and that could be two sentences. Besides his recent ejection in the Knicks game, he's a big part. I have 3 sentences already, okay, for my first body paragraph, talking about what I have for A, okay? A is explaining how I know the C's are returning to the championship. And then I can either indent or keep going on right here. They also have Jaylen Brown. And I'm running out of space, Brown. And then I would take maybe two to three sentences elaborating on what Jaylen Brown brings to the table. And I could talk about some role players in there. I can take this paragraph to about 6-7 sentences and then start on my next subtopic. But tune in tomorrow. to see me work on the second body paragraph. Here's what I need y'all to do. If this is your first time watching this video, you want to go back and watch the very first video from 2.5 weeks ago on writing the essay using the outline. And then just work your way up to this one, okay? If you don't want to do all that, you may be lost. But if I can put it all in this video, I will. But I'm trying to be respectful of my time. I said I'm going to talk about writing the essay for 10 minutes. And now I'm going to transition to going on to giving some test-taking strategies. I gave you 3 to 4 strategies last night. We're going to talk about some subdivisions under those strategies. We're going to take a 2-minute intermission. I'm going to give me a sip of water, a couple sips of water. Hey, I might drink the whole bottle. But I'm going to give me a couple of sips of water and fix my tie, of course. And I'll be back in about 2 minutes. You do the same, okay? I'll leave this on the board and let y'all look at it if y'all want to. Excuse me. Woo. All right, we're coming back in from an intermission, from a little break. I didn't drink the whole bottle of water. I got a few good sips, and I had to get it at the end of it. Okay, you got to get a because that makes you feel better. Okay, let's go over the test-taking strategies, okay? Now, here's my thing with test-taking strategies. If you apply them, you will be a better test taker. If you don't apply them, continue doing the same old thing you've been doing, okay? And when you're ready to give in to your stubbornness and ready to come over to the big leagues, see how we do it in the big leagues. You're always welcome. So let's review. Test-taking strategies I mentioned yesterday, okay? It's SOL season right now for many school districts. Test-taking strategies. First things first. When you're taking a multiple choice test and there are 4 answer selections, eliminate 2 answers, okay? We call that 50-50, all right? Get rid of the trash, slash the trash, okay? So whenever you're taking the test, whether you studied or did not study, read the text, and when you get to the answer choices, even if you know the answer, go through the process and just cross out 2, okay? Cross out 2. Let's say you just read a question, boom, boom. Now I got the choice going to be either A or B. Cross out 2, 50-50 on that thing. Okay, this is what we talked about yesterday, all right? Another thing is locate the distractor. Now, the distractor's job is to distract you. That's that answer that looks like it's the right answer, but it's not. It feels like it's the right answer, but it's not. It's like that friend in your circle you ain't supposed to have in your circle no more. You having snaky vibes about that friend. That's what the distractor does. Okay, the distractor makes you feel good, giving you maybe what you want, but not what you need. What you need is textual evidence. That distractor is going to look like it's the right answer because it's based upon emotions, but you don't have no textual evidence to back it up, okay? And when you don't have no textual evidence to back up an answer, it ain't the answer. It's not the answer, okay? Now, we're just reviewing yesterday's test-taking strategies, and then I'm going to give y'all some subtopics to fall under these. Last thing, prove the actual answer. How do you prove the actual answers? You look for supportive details. All right, supporting details, which is your textual evidence, supporting details. All right, in the text. Okay, so let's say you're reading the passage and you get a question. The author more than likely meant what by this phrase. Now you got to go and reread that whole passage, possibly or probably, and definitely that phrase, and you might have to do something called annotate. That's a term I did not use yesterday. You might got to annotate, okay? Now I need to erase this so I can put annotate on the board as another test taking strategy. But annotating helps you see what's not the answer. You get rid of two, that answer that looks good and feels good, but it's not right. It can help you locate that distractor, and then it can actually help you prove your answer. Isn't it good to have test taking strategies where you can use these strategies to help you get rid of what you don't need and gravitate more towards what you do need? Okay, so let's talk about annotating. All right, we're reading a passage, and we used to be able to write on our tests, but y'all got computers and everything now. Annotate the passage. Annotate. It can be questions too. Annotate what you read. Now, last time students took tests with me in the classroom, we was able to give everybody out, and that was this school year, 2022. We were able to give out blank sheets of paper. Now, students don't normally use blank sheets of paper when they're testing unless it's for math. But let's say we're in English class and you come across terms or phrase you may not know. You have the features on your Chromebook or your laptop to highlight things, underline things, maybe use symbols, drag and drop. But let's say you got paper. If you're reading a passage and some words stick out to you, maybe that you don't know, you can annotate with those features on the Chromebook or the computer or the laptop, highlight, underline. That's all annotate. Annotating is basically how you use symbols and or words or phrases to express what you're reading, express how you feel about what you're reading. It's interacting with your text, okay? Interacting with your text. And when you interact, inter means between. So it lets you get between your thoughts and the text. So one way to do that is annotate what you read. How do you annotate what you read? You make comments as you go. And you can use that extra sheet of paper when you're testing, that paper that's on the side that's blank. Make comments about the text. Okay? You can highlight phrases or words. Okay? You can also use symbols. I'm going to just leave it at use symbols. Okay? When you're annotating. Now, how is this done? When you're taking the test on a computer, you want to look at the features and see what you can underline. Let me add underline up here too. I'm going to put in another color. What features you can use, okay? But you're using these features to help you locate evidence in your text. You're using these features to help make connections with your text, make comments about the text. That's how you connect. So if you get a boring story, a dreadful story, find a way to connect with it. Because once you become the story, you know how you might hear some people say, to kill a bug, you got to become the bug. Just let your eyes move around, okay? You gotta put yourself into that text, to that story. Pick the author's brain, but make comments about the text. Now, if you can't do this on a computer, that's what that white sheet of paper is for, whatever color scrap paper you have, if you need it. Sometimes you may not need it. Highlight phrases. Use your features. If you're taking a test and it's printed text, then highlight what's on the paper. If your teacher says, hey, you can't write on this paper, then ask for a scrap sheet of paper, okay? to and what you can make comments on, and instead of highlighting, just copy down some of the phrases. Now this seems like a lengthy process, but I guarantee you all, half the time you're not going to make comments on the text, all right, or nor highlight phrases or use symbols. But it's always good to use, especially when you're having trouble comprehending a text. So annotating is another way to eliminate answers that are not it, and to prove answers that are it. Okay, it's a way for you to interact with your text. Now come back tomorrow. I'm gonna talk more about annotating. Okay, because annotating helps you find out context clues. Okay, let me put context clues on the board. This will be what we'll discuss tomorrow. I talked about it briefly. I didn't use the phrase context clues. Okay, context clues. Now I'm gonna give y'all a little homework. Just Google context clues tonight. After you see this video, Google context clues and put in the comments what context clues are. Okay, they're definitely, look at the word that's given. They're definitely boom. What kind of clues? Clues that you find in the what? All right. I'll see you all tomorrow. Or you all will see me. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. I am Fred Lee, formerly known as Mr. W. I wish everybody a wonderful and safe night. Try getting on IXL to get some practice in with test taking strategies. You can Google different parents. You can look up different websites which may allow you to print off text so your child can practice annotating. If your child has an assignment he or she is struggling with, have her practice annotating at home. You get some highlighters, pencils, and you can do it with that. All right? I wish everybody, I'm going to say it again, I wish everybody a good night. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all are magnificent. Let's get it. Keep it there.